Okay, in this movie what I'm going to do is I'm going to show how to cycle your walk cycle. So if I click on this, it's not going to show up very well because it's only 6 frames per second. But you can see that it's walking in a cycle. Now what we're going to need to do with that is we're going to need to cycle it, but we're not going to do it using the geocache method, which is what we'll save for eyebrow. What we'll do instead is we'll cycle using the animation editor, or the graph editor. So I'm going to go to Window, hold down the Shift key and choose Window, Animation Editor's Graph Editor. Okay, now Animation Editor's Graph Editor, what I'm going to need to do is select all of my controls, and I'll see basically what I've got is kind of a hot mess, but that's okay. What I'm going to do, this is very simple. I'm going to go to Curves, Post Infinity, and I'm going to cycle it. Okay, and then I'm going to go to View Infinity, and so I can see what I'm doing. Basically, this goes in where this leaves off, and what the implications of that are pretty simple. What it means is I can now pull this out to 150, and I will have my cycle pretty much squared away. Actually, I'll need to check that. Okay, what I'm looking for is something this shape, basically right there. Yeah, it's going to go back to about 150. So I'll go to 150. My keys are still there. Yep, that makes a good cycle. Very good. So the next step is we're going to import our environment. Okay. Go to 4 and we'll pull this up a little bit. Nope, it's locked. And I'm going, now it's important that when you do this, you unlock all of these selected attributes, because if you don't, it's going to shrink and it's not going to be pretty. I'm going to pull this up to the top there, and actually this isn't the environment. Come to think of it, this isn't the environment that I want. Delete the layer. Select all the rest of this and delete it. Don't need it. Wrong environment. So let me go import a new environment. Actually, got a better idea. What I'll do is I will save as, and I'll call this WalkCycled Graph Editor. Okay, and then I will open my environments from my eyebrow folder, and if I've got them in there. No, I will. I think what I'll do is... Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually, what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to save this file, and I'm going to open my environments, which I'll put this on the server, or it should be included, and it is called Lights with Turntable. Okay, this is basically our lighting environment from eyebrow, and I'm going to import into that. I'm going to import my WalkCycle with the graph editor. Okay, and there it is. Now I'm going to take this little guy right there, and I'm going to parent it. Okay, now if by chance it sucks down into nothing, then the problem that you've got is that you are now the problem that you have is that it was not. The problem that you have is that it wasn't. You didn't unlock these channels. So actually, I'm going to unparent that, and I'm going to go back to frame 1, and then parent it just to be sure. Now, next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my turntable, and I'm going to go to frame 150. I'm going to change this to, actually I'm going to go to frame 151, and I'm going to change this to 360. Okay, and I'll go ahead and delete that key right there. In fact, I think this thing goes all the way out. Yeah, I want to get rid of that one. I'll cut this down to 150. And now when I play it, I should have a nice smooth walk cycle that I can now render. Yep, there we go. Alright, so now I can set up my render camera just like I have in many of these different, except for the fact that I'm going to have to do this, which isn't difficult. I'll go to render settings. I'll reset this. This is going to have to come down. I'll set this to render cam, and then I'll go to presets. I will go to HD 720. I'll set quality, and remember you always want to check your rendering with no anti-aliasing. Then I'll zoom back out. I'll set my title safe so that I don't miss any part of this. This will help me work my walk cycle. Okay, I've got my everything squared away. I'll go up here to my tester. Try to shrink this down a bit. There we go. And I'll hit render, and I'll pause my movie. Okay, now what I've noticed is, number one, I've got some shininess on there, and that's not necessarily a bad thing, but more importantly, my feet are not quite right. So what I'm going to do is take that down, and I'm going to go to my front view or side view, whichever. And there's the problem right there. There's my problem right there. I'm going to go to ballsy group, and I'm going to drop this down like so. Okay, I'm going to bring back my, and we'll take a look at that. I'm just going to go over top of here. Okay, that's looking much better. All right, much better. All right, so I'll change my max sample level to 1. And now I'll go ahead and hit I'll do another render. I'll pause this. Okay, so what we've got is we've got 1 minute and 20 seconds with this, but it looks a little grainy. The only real way to see how good it is to click on the 1-to-1 button here, and we'll use that to move around the screen so we can see. Now, the only other thing here is you got this. This is looking a little jagged, not jagged, but polygonish, if you will. So what I'm going to do there is I'm going to go to my render cam. I'm going to click on this is actually a NURB cylinder that's been manipulated. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring up our attribute editor. I'll bring this up in here, and to smooth that out, we're going to go to Tessellation rollout, and we're going to display render tessellation. Okay, now render tessellation simply means when a NURB surface is rendered, it basically renders it into polygons. Okay, I'm going to go to my simple tessellation options. I'm going to uncheck advanced tessellation. I don't need that. And I'm going to kick my V divisions, just set to 3. I'm going to kick my V divisions up to probably around 5. Okay, now that will, and then I'll see if it'll go to 6. Will it go to 6? Yes, it will. And what that does is that's going to smooth the divisions around the center there. And we'll take a quick look at that to see if that has smoothed it out. It should have. Basically, we'll pause it. Yeah, that's good and smooth. Okay, that's good and smooth. One last render time, just to make sure. Okay, so we're at 100, and we can see very smooth. Everything's smooth right there. We're at 1 minute 20 seconds. Okay, and we zoom in right quick, and we're looking pretty good. Now 1 minute and 20 seconds. Let me get my calculator. Looking for the calculator. There's the calculator. calculator. Don't have my calculator. Well, anyway, what you're going to do is go 1 minute and 20 seconds times 150 is going to be 150 minutes plus another 50 minutes, so 200 minutes. You'll have 200 minutes, divide that by 60, and that's the number of hours that you'll be rendering this, that you'll need to render it. And that's basically cycling your walk cycle and setting it up to render.